Are we? Am I calling the meeting to order?
I don't see Mike on, I do see Donnie's on here.
His absence, you're in charge.
6:01 PM. Call the regular village board meeting to order. Ask everyone to stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have public comment on agenda items, 2 minutes per person, 14 minutes per topic. Is there any individuals wishing to be heard for public comment on agenda items? Any individuals?
You say on agenda items?
Well, yeah, I understand you for a different purpose, but we'll give you a few minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes. I can do it. All right. My name is Jamie Johnson. I don't know, is there a camera or?
It'll follow.
Right there,
All right.
but,
Excellent.
if you wanna back up more,
Yeah, back up.
there you go.
All right, very good.
Right there,
All
there you
right,
go.
thanks.
And it'll adjust.
Very good. My name is Jamie Johnson and I'm running for judge. I live in the town of Hudson. I've been in St. Croix County resident taxpayer for 35 years. It will be in April. In my legal career, I have experience as a criminal prosecutor, civil litigator, and a mediator. I was a prosecutor over in two other counties, Langlade and Eau Claire. And I also worked on the Court of Appeals before I came to St. Croix County. Since coming to Hudson, I've worked with the Lohman Abdo law firm. It used to be called the Lohman Nelson. Now I've handled hundreds of criminal and civil cases in a wide variety of issues, ranging from personal injuries, real estate, contracts, and commercial disputes. And in addition to a broad experience as an advocate in private practice, I have successfully mediated dozens of emotional and sensitive disputes, and I volunteered my time for St. Croix County Small Claims Court. In fact, I settled 2 small claims cases today for the county. And for years, I gave guidance and advice for the free legal clinic in St. Croix County Bar Association. Outside of the lawyer work, I've consistently dedicated time to serving my community. And I've served as president of the Hudson School Board for the last 11 years. I'm on my 4th and final term on the school board. It worked out that this judge opening came up. Last time there was an opening in St. Croix County, it was announced in 2007. I was 45. I thought I was too young. And I said, I'll just run when there's the next opening. Well, this is the next open seat that's not with a sitting judge. But anyway, I've been very active in my church at Hudson, at Bethel Lutheran Church. My faith is very important to me. Served as a Sunday school teacher, church council president, and chaired 2 capital campaigns for Bethel. I've also had positions of leadership at Rotary. I've been in Hudson Daybreak Rotary 17 years, the St. Croix Valley YMCA, and as I mentioned about the St. Croix County Courts. I won't go on and on. There's other stuff. My website is johnsonforjudge.org. But I've had a commitment to justice in the community. It's really who I am at my core. People tell me I'm a good listener. I've got the right demeanor and temperament to be a judge, a good judge. And if elected, I would put my core values of hard work. Did I mention I was raised on a farm? And so I spent my teenage years milking cows and shoveling manure. And that was the best training, I think, for this job. But I've got the dedication, integrity, fairness, and core values that I think will make me a great judge for you and work for all the residents and businesses of St. Croix County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other individuals wishing to be heard for public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, move to item 4, approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Caleb Garn approve, or make a motion to approve the agenda.
Bring Chrome second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
What-
Aye.
What,
Say nay.
don't we have a discussion after the motion's been seconded?
For approval of agenda,
Yeah,
sure. Do you have a question, Johnny?
we're just approving the agenda as presented. We're not moving anything back and forth around on this one?
I've had no requests,
Okay,
unless you are making a request, Donnie.
nope, I was just asking the question if there was that or not.
All right, thank you. Approval agenda motions were made and passed. Moving on to consent agenda.
Yeah.
What was the roll call vote? Sorry.
You don't have to roll call, just, there was no all in
There,
favor.
I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say the same. Motion carries for approval of agenda. Consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? Otherwise, look for a motion in a second.
Bring Chrome make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Caleb Garn, second.
A motion and second, any discussion? We vote on the consent agenda. Hearing none, I'll call for all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion passes. New business, 6A, appointment of clerk, deputy treasurer. So in absence of the village president, I will be making the appointment of Tasia. I'm sorry.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, what's the term on this appointment?
It's 2 years.
They're 2 years.
Okay,
It's-
so I'll make them, I think with the change that we had made, last meeting, I'd like to.
It's a statutory thing, Donnie, otherwise we would have made it indefinite.
I understand that, but with the changes that were made in the last meeting that we just approved the minutes on, I'd like to appoint, Andrea, to her position of clerk and treasurer for a period of 2 years.
Oh, yeah, we're still on 6A first. So,
That, she'd be the treasurer.
yeah. We're on clerk deputy treasurer right now.
Is that Amy?
I'm just saying, Donnie, we're on 6A clerk deputy treasurer, which would be Tasia.
Okay.
Motion,
Second your appointment.
okay. Well, I was making the appointment, is there a, so Donnie, you making the motion then for the approval of the appointment?
Yep.
Second.
Is there a second? Caleb? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Tasia, you have been reappointed for 2 years.
Yay. I thought it was gonna be me for a second.
6B, appointment of treasurer deputy clerk.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Andrea.
I'll second.
Motion by Donnie Kern. Second by Chris Dubek to appoint Andrea to treasurer deputy clerk.
Congratulations, Andrea.
Any discussion on it? Otherwise I call for,
Period of 2 years also?
what's that?
A period of 2 years also?
Yes. It's 2 years. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Appointment of Andriato to reappointment of Andriato to treasury deputy clerk has passed. Congratulations, Andrea. She says, see, she's on Zoom, so. 6C, zoning ordinance amendment to allow residential dwelling as a conditional use in a professional office district. This is what we have in our packet, middle 6, section 13-148.
So this went through initial reading at plan commission and a subsequent reading, follow up, this past December's plan commission meeting. That was recommended to the plan commission to the village board.
So the only change I see is on page 205, C5, which added residential housing, and then D6 has been struck. So it just basically struck it and moved it up. So now it's conditional use to allow residential housing in the professional office district. Is there a motion for approval?
Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve the zoning ordinance amendment to allow residential dwellings as conditional use in the professional office district.
Second.
Second by Chris, do it. Any other discussion regarding this zoning ordinance change? Any other questions? Was it called for the vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Was saying nay. Motion passes. 6B, zoning amendment, rezone part of PID 18141410100 from A1 to R3, applicant Village of Somerset.
Didn't this go through planning commission?
Yes, sir.
It was made by recommendation from the planning commission to us.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the zoning amendment, rezoning PID 181-4141-01-000 to R3.
Brandon Crowe second.
Motion by Donnie Kern, second by Brian Crone. Any further discussion on 6D? Hearing none, I'll ask for all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Six E, discussion possible approval of Main Street Bridge Utility and Expansion Joint Replacement Final Application number 7.
We get the hangers in, Chuck?
We did.
Oh my God. Dude, we've been working on this since you got it, since we both got in. This is impressive.
I think they, they
Finally there.
casted them by hand and, the hell else, they put it on their Christmas list or something, I don't know, but they finally got them in. So this application is for,
Go ahead, Chuck.
this application is for $109,164.06. And it includes the hangers, as well as a couple of other miscellaneous items, and just under $80,000 worth of retainage.
Chuck, was that an ad or was that part of the original let bid?
The hangers,
The pay application you're presenting, that's part of the original let bid, right?
yep, that is correct.
So does that get us to the final then on that with minus any retainage?
Yep, this is final, this is, so this $109,164.06 and 6 cents is all that remains, and the project will be completed.
So then the retainage,
Is part of this,
And you're recommending approval?
correct?
Brad Crowe make a motion to approve the Main Street Bridge Utility and Expansion Joint Replacement Final Application.
Number 7.
Number 7, do I have to say the dollar amount?
There it is.
All right, yeah, recommend in the amount of $109,164.06.
Second.
Motion by Brian Cronin, second by Chris Dubek. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Item 6F, line of credit reduction request, Capstone Homes, Pinevale Development Initial Phase. Letter. You take it.
Yes, but Bob will be able to answer any questions and Chuck.
So the development agreement allows for reductions if the work is completed and the board approves the amount. And we just need to be sure that there's enough filled back to handle any problems and finish the job if need be.
So, per application, per the latest application that we have, you know, the amount of remaining street work is $370,169.05. And 1.2% of that would be $444,202.86. So I guess, they're requesting a reduction down to, was it 384,000? 388. At this time, though, I would recommend a reduction down to 440,000 to cover outstanding road work and cleanup items.
Is 440 gonna be sufficient, or is there, I know it's just to cover that with a little bit of extra on top, but we also were talking, about that potential moving some of that, that Lurton getting, land in getting that drainage on the backside of, 13, 14 and 15 there. Is that factored into that, or are you just, is this on, the streets only?
Well, I mean, it's 1.2% of the remaining work. So that's an extra $75,000 if you need to do any sort of additional grading or something down there. I would think that would suffice, Donnie.
Then I'll make a recommendation to establish line of credit at 440.
Brandon Crowe second.
440,000 to clarify.
Yes,
Brandon Crowe still seconds.
Motion by Donnie Kern, second by Brandon Kern. Crone, that's hard. I know these names are gonna follow me up. Motion has been made. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. 6G. 2025 budgets, TID 3, TID 5, TID 6, water, sewer.
Is on Zoom if there's questions.
Oh, well, normally water and sewer comes before the public works beforehand, and it didn't get there. I had some questions on the sewer budget with regards to, I know we had an increase in benefits on our general budget to allocate for some new employees switching over in benefits. But under sewer budget benefits, we went up from $72,500 to $88,000, which is a $15,000 increase in the benefits category. And I thought we were kind of at a kind of an even keel with the benefit cost for this year.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
They're all kind of as one.
They're all under 16.
Andrew, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
Thanks, Jeff.
There we go. There you go.
Okay, so the wages increased, Donnie, for, the sewer operator. And that increases benefits allocated to the sewer, so that's why that amount went up.
So the wages went up 6% for the operator. According to, well, I thought we had approved a 4% increase. That's first off. I'm assuming there's some overtime figured into that to offset some of that, but also administration went up 13% on the wages, which I thought we had approved 4%, but Social Security stayed flat in the budget, and that didn't change. So if you're increasing wages, you'd have to increase Social Security, I would think too, right?
Yes.
But that stayed flat.
So some of that benefits should move down to Social Security tax.
Okay. So did you want to refigure that or?
I didn't do this budget, so, this is from,
This is from me, Donnie.
yeah,
Okay,
so. But, the reason why the wages went up more than 4% is because the allocation based on where the guys are working, changed. So it's not necessarily that the sewer operator got 6% or the admin got 13%. It's just how the wages are being allocated. Every payroll has changed.
It affects the percentage of their position charged that account, not just the percentage of increase of wage that we approved.
Correct.
We have one main sewer operator, and then
But there's other
You
people that
also
contribute to that.
at times parks, the parks worker and street worker going down and working at the plant as well. So those are all factored in, based off of last year's number, and then you have to make a generalization on if last year was there some anomalies that increased that wage portion of it? Yeah, probably, because we had a substantial amount of construction going down there.
And, you did not have a finance personnel meeting this month to review this, so I mean, at the same time, these special fund budgets, you gotta try to say this without sounding like it doesn't mean that they're not important policy documents, but they're not the same level of importance as the general fund budget that we pass.
so.
They're more of a guideline.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Andrew. That, when we pass the general fund, that's, a direct bearing on the tax base. These are, more subjective than the general fund is.
Prediction.
So water and sewer budgets don't have to be, there were a guideline versus a actual budget of a setup for what the water and sewer funds are doing.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm just saying that these budgets, are somewhat trickier to put together because they don't have the hard equation of the tax levy coming in, expenditures coming out. These are estimations of utility revenues and an estimation of utility expenses.
Yes. So it's an enterprise fund, which there's a couple things that, when I look at this, I factor in. One is, did our population increase? Did it stay flat? Two, you gotta make some type of guess on weather. So last year we had a lot of rain. The year prior, we had 0 rain. So you can imagine people used more water in 2022 than they did in 2023. So my idea is to look back in those 3 years and again, see if there's any anomalies that's happened in any of those line items and make adjustments based off the best information I have and the best guess a lot of times of what the next season's going to be like, and it's normally a conservative number.
So that, in that vein, how did administration, go up from 54,000 to, I think it's 61,000? And that, I thought that was just to handle the admin as far as billing and pay for the clerk.
2023, we had a $54,000 line item expense for an actual. The prior year was 51,000. I budgeted 54,000 this year.
And 2025 is 61.
Correct.
Which is an increase of $7,000. That's why is that just for the admin portion? I mean, that's just billing, right?
No, that's part of my salary, part of Tasia's salary, and the utility clerk's salary goes into that line item.
But you guys also have a line item for your budget on the tax base as well, right?
Yes.
But it's not 100% on the tax base. Their salary is divided across many budgets.
I understand that. And what I'm saying is that on our budget that we've approved from the tax base on the tax levy, it was based on a 4% increase. Now we're seeing it's like that money has been shifted over to the sewer budget.
So you have 3 people splitting that $7,000 increase.
Okay.
So it's not a 6% for one person, it's 6%
No, it's
for 3.
13%.
Well, I don't know what would you like that number to be?
It's not, I'm just asking a question on it. I'm not here to tell you what when we're looking at an amount, without knowing exactly what that is, I just seen it saying, well, that's a 13% increase. And I thought we were only looking at, so what portion of that makeup is that supposed to be, I guess is my question. I can't tell you what that number is going to be unless I have more information on it.
Well, I can tell you with the way I budget the revenues, I'm always very conservative, and I hope that the numbers are higher than what I projected, and the opposite's true for the expenses. I hope they come in less. But I want to always go with the worst case scenario on that, and that's precisely what I did. So if you want a number changed in here that you're not comfortable with, I'm fine with that.
I'm perfectly fine with, whatever it is, whatever that number is going to be. If there's a 7.65% added to the Social Security aspect of it too, on the bottom, because that number never changed. I mean, at least it would reflect what we're actually paying in Social Security and Medicare for them wage increases. And if you think it's 61,000 is going to get the job done, and that's what you're budgeting in at, then we should at least have something going into the social security on the bottom, but I can't see more than at least 12%, and that's with the total wages of all three of the individuals being put into that number. In other words, the three wage increases of 4% each going into that number, would that be 13%? That'd be 12%.
So it should actually be $63,418 for sewer admin. And general salaries.
So what's the resolution here? Are we changing the number? Are we good with the number, or we gotta take money
Well-
from somewhere else, or?
Well, ultimately, these budgets have to be passed tonight, correct, Andrea, because they have to be passed before the fiscal year starts.
Correct.
But these are,
Projection.
unlike the general fund budget, are more projections and guidelines. Whereas the general fund budget is, has a direct correlation to what we'll have to levy
So we can,
in taxes.
so we can pass these today, and then Donnie, if this line budget is of concern, you can track that as we go through the budgets month by month. Is that?
Or a budget amendment could be made.
So what I was saying, the finance never had a chance to look at these numbers. Public Works never had a chance to look at these numbers. They're put forth in front of us here today. So we can approve them, but if there's discrepancies, I'd like the opportunity to come back and revise the budget if possible.
So that would be the finance's prerogative to bring forward a budget amendment.
That's what I'm asking.
Yep, that would be the finance and personnel committee's prerogative to bring forward a budget amendment if they feel it's warranted.
But my understanding was that budget, or that finance never actually looked at water and sewer budgets in the past. Is that correct?
No,
When have we approved water and sewer budgets? And
every year at the December meeting.
I can speak to my historic, it's always been in December every year when I was on the board.
Chris, did we approve them last year?
Last year, yes, I believe so, but we did not discuss this particular budget at the last meeting.
Cause you didn't have one, right?
Exactly.
So that's why I'm saying, I think our best course is to pass as recommended tonight, and if finance wants to review it next month or in future months and come back with a budget amendment, that's what they can do.
So I'll make a motion to approve the water and sewer budgets, with the understanding to be revisited in January for a possible recommendation from finance.
Brown second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the budget as presented.
But that was water and sewer. I haven't even talked about TID yet. I didn't know if anybody wanted to talk about TID and or not.
Well, before we vote, you have any comments on the other budgets?
Well, my motion was for water and sewer budgets. I do have questions on the TIDs.
I'd like to take it all up as one, but, okay,
We should have a separate motion for the water and sewer. and then move up.
okay. Let's,
Brandon Crown second.
we already have a second, so let's vote on the water and sewer budget, because there's a motion and a second on the table for that. All those in favor of approving the water and sewer budget as presented, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right, now we have left the 2025 TID 3, TID 5, and TID 6 budgets to review and approve.
Bear with. bear with me, I'm pulling them up as we speak. Question on the TID 5. And this is just from my understanding, we are going to have a sale of property that's going to go into this budget for TID 5, correct?
Correct.
And is that going to offset the cost of the transfer to service debt for 2025, or is that going to be for 2024?
It will help to cover the debt payment for 2025.
Okay, so that should really be the amount in the 2025 budget should be for sale of property, correct?
No, because that sale is happening in 2024.
Okay,
So the money
So-
will be in the fund to cover that.
It's
So
happening this year, but it'd be available for expenditure next year, Donnie, to cover
Right,
the
right.
next year's expenditures.
so the
But
debt
it's not-
service
But it's
is
not a
due-
revenue for next year, Donnie.
understood, the debt service of 117,483, right? Will be for 2025, but that'll come from revenue on the 2024 actual that we don't see yet.
Correct.
And how much is that?
Bob,
266,000, I believe.
Is that net or is there expenses that we're going to incur for in that amount?
I don't know right now what the closing costs are going to be on that.
So that'll come out of that 266, correct?
Presumably.
Yeah, I would guess that's
yes.
closing costs and.
I
Here again,
apologize.
the TID budgets are even more of a guideline than the other ones. Again, not saying that they're not important. Please don't mistake that. I'm not saying they're not important. I'm just saying that these are much more of a guideline, but we do have to approve and have them on the books.
I appreciate that, Ryan. I want to make sure that I'm understanding.
Oh,
where
I
is
know,
that.
I'm just trying to, so everyone understands that, the little bit of reason why these are done last is because they're not as difficult and as critical because they don't affect the tax levy, that directly affect, as I call it, the village Christmas cards that just went out.
They're fluid based on the activity throughout the year.
Sure, and we have 266,000 coming in actuals for this year, in addition to there's been no other revenue in TID 5. We have expenditures of 54,000, which takes us down to 200,000, and we have 119,000 on the budget for next year. So we have adequate amount of money, I guess is my point, that we can pay the bills for 2024 in TID 5, and we can pay the bills for 2025 as projected, and we'll still have about $50,000-$60,000 after all expenses are paid, plus or minus 10,000 at the end of 2025 is I guess what I'm saying.
Given all the known revenues and known expenditures at this time for the TID.
Well,
That's correct.
it's what we're budgeting, right?
I understand it, but there could be there could be a change in the development that I'm just throwing a scenario where there could be a change in what the development is in that TID district that could change what the expenditures could be.
I understand.
Caleb Garn make a motion to pass the, budgets for proposed budgets for 2025, TID 3, TID 5, and TID 6.
Brandon Crone, second.
Motion by Caleb Garn, second by Brandon Crone, to approve 2025 budgets, TID 3, TID 5, and TID 6 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
I thought we had enough discussion, but is there any other further discussion?
Is there going to be a updated budget proposal presented following the close of 2024?
Are you referring to the actual expenditures?
That's what I'm referring to, yes.
Andrea, I will take a whack at this, but probably not until it's audited.
Correct.
And when will the audit be?
They're coming in February. It usually takes a couple months after that.
Okay.
So I would say July, August.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Nope,
Oh,
and
cool.
Mike Capper's here, and I apologize for being late. I didn't have my phone on me, and I was helping coach at my kids' wrestling meet. And it went way longer than we thought. I'm a couple minutes away from being there.
We're almost done, so. Is there any other discussion on the motion for TID 3, TID 5, and TID 6 budgets? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Motion carries. 6H, discussion possible approval amendments to provisions of chapter 15 building code update references to reflect current Wisconsin administrative code citations.
I can explain this. If you remember at the last meeting, there was direction for Tony and I to get together and essentially update this part of the code. And that's what we did. So the only changes are in the references to the administrative code from the formal com sections to now the SPS sections. All of the other text, there's no changes to the text, it's just those references. And you can see going through the red lines, they're not red here, but the underlines and the strikeouts show the changes.
Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve the amendments to provision of chapter 15 building code updated references to reflect current Wisconsin administrative code citations.
Second.
Second by
Chris Dubek.
Chris Dubek.
Got it.
Any discussion regarding these changes? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Motion passes. 6I, discussion possible approval attorney billing for special counsel.
Yes, Mike, had put this on. I asked him to put it on because, I watched the, special meeting on December 11th. Understand that the, council was selected through, Weld Riley. And, I've seen some of the bills from, them in the past. And I'd like to make a motion to, have special counsel, Weld Riley itemize any billing to the specific trustees and or individuals that they are communicating with and the duration of time spent in that said communication. And the subject matter of communication to be limiting expenditures to no more than $2,500 unless additional amounts to be approved by the board.
I'll second.
Donnie, can you repeat that motion, please, just so we clearly understand what you meant?
My motion is to have special counsel Weld Riley itemize any billing to the specific trustees and or individuals that they are communicating with, the duration of time spent in said communication.
Well, Donnie, just one problem with that, the board authorized the only contact with me.
My motion is upfront on this. He can do whatever contact he makes. I've seen their billing in order to be upfront with it. That's what I put my motion forward. The communication of subject matter and the communication and to limit the expenditures to no more than $2,500. Any additional amounts can be set forth. The board and the 4 members that met at that special council meeting did not bring any of this matter up during the budget. We've already solicited a budget. I don't know where that money's coming from. I'm limiting it to $2,500. I'm asking for the board to limit it to $2,500. And in transparency, any communication can be held with the president pro tem, but I'd like to know what the subject matter is that's being discussed. The matters are expanded beyond, if it has to do with the president and special counsel, then so be it. But that's my motion, and it's been seconded, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I understand. I just asked for clarification of what your motion said, just so I understood. Thank you, Donnie.
I've looked at normal, Mr. Chairman, if I may, under discussion.
Yes, briefly go ahead again.
I've looked at numerous billings from our current council, and the council states who he speaks with, how they're speaking, you know, what the subject matter is and the time. And I'd like to see that same kind of transparency to be put forth from any council that we, as a board and as a community, are soliciting.
Is that standard? People bill differently. Okay. People in my firm bill differently. Sure.
This would offer transparency all the way across the board.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The
Mr.
nays
Chairman,
have it.
roll call vote, please. Point of order, roll call vote.
Just a minute, I'm just making some notes. Roll call vote requested by Donnie Kern. All those in favor, we'll do a roll call vote. Who's Mike? Mike, are you still with us?
Yep, and I guess for point of clarification from Attorney Mahler, am I able to vote on this? Because if so, I would be a yay.
I understand that. I just want to make sure you were with us, so you're hearing this. That's.
But should Ryan be voting,
Yeah, right.
even though they're campaigning for the same position?
Submitted paperwork yet.
Yeah, but he's made his intention public.
I do not hold the office yet, so there's no conflict, please.
Caleb Garn, nay.
Brandon Crowe, nay.
Chris Dubak, aye.
Donnie Kern, aye.
And
And myself.
Attorney Mahler for, oh, go ahead, Mr. Seagarden.
Mike, I just said it'd be best if you didn't vote on this.
Okay, thank you. And I will abstain.
Myself, aye. Motion, or, I'm sorry, nay. I was marking ayes and nays on my tally here. Motion fails 2-4. Moving on, 6J, water and sewer bills. This was pulled from the consent agenda, as I understand it.
Yes, Mr. Seacarby, since we didn't have a Public Works meeting this month, it never got to get approved through the consent or through the Public Works agenda.
Okay. Now I understand why I got pulled. Think,
Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve the water and sewer bills as presented.
Second,
motion by Brandon, second by Johnny. All of the, any discussion on the bills? All in favor say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Mr. Chairman, move
Make a
for
motion to
adjournment.
adjourn.
Brandon Crowe second.
Johnny Kern, second by Brandon Crone. All in favor say aye.
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 Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone.